From Faith Forward Media, this is Healthcare Musings. I'm Dr. Hassaballa. Welcome to Healthcare Musings. Happy to have you with me. So in the so-called Big Beautiful Bill, there's been a lot of consternation and angst and worry on the part of prospective or future or even current healthcare students because they limited the amount of grad plus loans that the federal government will lend to students to $200,000 for professional school. And I've talked to a lot of current medical students and prospective medical students and those who've been accepted, and they're very worried about this because um, the tuition of professional schools, especially medical schools, is very high. And at the end, you may need to borrow more than $200,000. And if the federal government stops at $200,000, where are you going to make up the rest? Mm, uh, So I'm a doctor. Everyone knows that. I can't afford to pay for medical school from any one of my children. There's no way. It's just the tuition is too high. So, and we're and very, living a very comfortable life. How about those who don't have any means, right? They're very worried about this. So then they're going to have to go to private loans, and the private loans are frequently very poor terms. I mean, the federal loan program is really a good loan program. I mean, it's very forgiving, and it's a and if God forbid you die, they're canceled. I mean, it's just a much better loan program. So if you limit it at $200,000, what are students to do, right? And there are many concerns. One is, okay, you're just now limiting medical school and professional school to those with means, right? And that's quote unquote discriminatory. Uh, I don't know because again, I have means, thank God, and I can't afford to pay for medical school, right? Some schools have tuition bills of greater than $80,000 a year, so it's I'm a little skeptical of that argument. Um, I am worried about the fact that now you're going to have, you know, 100, 200, $300,000 of private loans, and that's very difficult. They don't they're not as flexible typically as the federal government program. Like, what if you go into fellowship? Will they allow you to defer? How will that work? So I definitely understand the concern, and it's really unfortunate, and I think it's super short-sighted. Now, from the lawmakers' perspective, they said that the unlimited federal plus program um, just encouraged medical schools and professional schools to just charge whatever tuition they want, right? Since the government will foot the bill, right? They can make their tuition $90,000, $100,000 a year, and whatever the government will pay. I don't know. I mean, I kind of understand that, and at the same time, and this is the crux of what I'm talking about here. Like, okay, and so if the government said, okay, we're not going to lend more than 200,000, but they forced the medical schools to charge no more than $50,000 of tuition per year, um, maybe that would make sense. But that's not just tuition. I couldn't work during medical school. There's no way. Many people can't work during medical school. So how are they going to live? How are they going to eat? Where are they going to live? Where are they going to eat? I had to borrow just to live. I had to borrow to pay for my rent in my apartment. I had to borrow to eat. I had to borrow that money. I couldn't work. So, okay, where is that money going to come from? Again, and this is the point of what I'm trying to make here. This is super short-sighted. A federal loan is an investment in that student. It's an investment. And the investment pays off umpteenfold. And so let me give you my example, okay? I got all federal loans to pay for my medical school tuition, my living expenses, my food, and everything, okay? The government invested that money in me, in my medical education, and I paid it all back with interest. So the initial investment, the principal that they got, has been paid back, plus interest. So the government made money, right? Maybe if you think of inflation and if they broke even, they still didn't lose money on me. Not only that, now they have a physician taking care of the population. They have, in my case, a critical care and pulmonary and sleep physician that's now taking care of the American citizenry, the American people. Um, they invested and now helped one of its citizens become a productive member of society. I'm providing vital health care to people, and that's good for America. Not only that, if you think about it from a pure money perspective, thank God, doctors still earn a very good living and we pay a lot of income tax. I pay a lot of income tax. I'm not complaining. I'm super grateful. That income tax is an investment. It's the return on the government's investment. And if you invest in it, whatever it takes, if it's $500,000 that the government invests in a student, a medical student, for example, and that medical student becomes a physician that earns a good living, the government is going to get way more than $500,000 back in income taxes. If that student that then becomes a physician is paying sometimes six figures a year in income tax, depending on what kind of physician they become. And that physician is working for 30 years, 20 years, 30 years. The government is going to make way more than $500,000 back. And that's just one student. Now think of all the physicians that the government invests in. The return on investment of a student loan is humongous. It's multiples of one, right? And so just limiting the loan so they can fund a tax credit, a tax break for corporations and whatever. It's just so, in my mind, so short-sighted. I get the point that medical school and professional school tuition inflation is huge. It just increases year after year after year. I kind of get that, but to limit loans at an arbitrary number, 200,000, 50,000 a year, is just, in my opinion, is super short-sighted on the part of the government and these lawmakers that passed the bill. I really hope they change their minds and do something. And I encourage everybody listening to this to talk to their Congress people about trying to change that, and I will do the same. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for your time and attention. And until next time, Hashem Hassaballa signing off on Healthcare Musings. Thank you for listening. Sign up at healthcaremusings.com to get every episode delivered directly to your email. And please don't forget to leave a 5-star review. Thank you so much.